say thanks for joining us here at K24 Newscast, and many thanks for choosing K24 TV. My name is Bentura Kwamboka, and our sign language interpreter at this hour will be Evelyn Wongoe. And now let's take a look at what's shaping our broadcast at this hour. Three-judge bench to deliver a ruling on whether they will disqualify themselves or proceed with the case challenging orders blocking the appointment of Kithure Kindiki as the deputy president. Ministry of Education procures 1 million books and 24,000 copies of Teacher's Guide for each learning area ahead of the start of grade 9 classes next year. Traders up in arms over what they term as harassment from county officers enforcing crackdown on non-payment of county levies. Welcome to the program. And Justices Eric Ogola, Anthony Mrima and Freda Mugambe will deliver a ruling on whether they will disqualify themselves or proceed with a case challenging orders blocking the appointment of Kithure Kindiki as the deputy president. Impeached deputy president Rigathi Gachagua, through his legal team, have argued that the only person who has the capacity to impanel a bench is the Chief Justice, as opposed to the Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwelo's weekend decision. They are arguing how the file from Kerugoya courts landed at the hands of DCI to appoint the three-judge bench. The ruling will be issued at 3:30 p.m. on Wednesday.
This court in particular must not be understood that it was under undue influence, that we must wear somebody Wednesday, Thursday, or something like that. This must be done within the four corners of the Constitution. If that one is not done, my Lord, there would be a huge problem, not just of perceptions, but the huge problem that in Githongori versus Republic, they were talking about. The world, Africa, and everybody else is watching. And what are they watching? How are we going to consider to reduce time, for example, that is expressly set out in the Constitution, into hours? And to do what? To prevent a victim of constitutional violations from urging petitions that are before the court. That should worry the court more.
The Chief Justice may, where necessary for the expedient and proper exercise of judicial authority, authorize the sitting of the court on any day or at any time. The sitting of this court on any day at any time requires express authority of the Chief Justice.
Your Lordship, in our matter, that is petition P014, it was transferred to Her Ladyship on 11th of October. So those are 8 days. Your Lordship, therefore, we don't understand why the expediency that came in the sense that one petition is transferred to the CJ in 8 minutes, while our petition takes up to 8 days for it to be transferred.
I think the petition also filed in Kerugoya, and the lawyers who did that yourselves
yes, Your Lordship,
should answer that question.
Yes, Your Lordship, but that's the
yes, that is your question to answer. You cannot pose it to us.
Your Lordship, it's in the context of the matter in which...
Yeah, you must balance all issues. You don't, when an issue favors you, you want to raise it up. When it doesn't favor you, you want to put it down.
I'm well guided.
The orders which came from Kerugoya by your orders. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before we make final orders.
And the Ministry of Education is procuring a total of 1 million books and 24,000 copies of Teacher's Guide for each learning area ahead of the start of grade 9 classes next year. The books will be distributed between 23rd of January to 3rd of March. Education CS Julius Migos made the announcement during the launch of the distribution of grade 9 textbooks to junior schools at KICD. In the event schools receive insufficient books, they will be required to report to the Sub-County Education Office by 31st of January.
The approval for these materials was achieved through rigorous evaluation, vetting, and validation through the panel system. These materials comprise a learner's book and the accompanying teacher's guide. Evaluation of course materials was carried out by the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development in April this year. Apart from the lists of the books that will be procured by Government of Kenya, several titles have also been approved for each learning area to provide a variety of the learning institutions. This will serve as additional reference materials for use in and out of school. These titles have found their space in the Orange Book, which is the official reference point of all books that KICD has approved for use in schools. In all, the Ministry of Education is procuring a total of 1 million copies of learners' books and 24,000 copies of teachers' guides for each learning area in grade 9. The distribution schedule stretches between 23rd of January to 15th of March, 23rd of October to 15th of December 2024. I have directed that schools that may have variances in the number of books delivered to them should report to the Sub-County Education Office. The Sub-County Education Officers should also move in to rationalize any variances in the schools within the Sub-County. The Sub-County Officers are expected to file reports with the Ministry of Education on the status of book distribution in schools within the area of jurisdiction by 31st of January 2025.
And as the country readies for the grade 6 KPSE assessment rollout across the country next week, concerns are being raised on the parental involvement in the implementation of the CBC curriculum since its initiation. According to primary schools head teachers, parents are still not actively involved in undertaking takeaways activities and assignments given to their children as per the curriculum requirements. Despite the strides and improvements made so far in the implementation of CBC, parental involvement is still lacking, posing a major challenge to the full implementation of the new curriculum. Head teachers note that unlike the previous 844 curriculum, where teachers were expected to do about 3/4 of the work, the current system requires parents to be actively involved in takeaway assignments given to the children.
We're going to take the KPSE. Last year we took the assessment and our school met expectation. The first team that took the KPSE also met expectation. So this year we are expecting that at least we exceed the expectation. So all the learning areas are being tested as per the NEC assessment. The challenge that we'll be facing majorly is parental involvement. That is very key. You know, the CBC system of education involves or requires parents to take active part in their learning or in their children. But you find that you give an assignment or the so-called the home fund, a child goes home, comes back without doing this work because the parents are not concerned, they're not involved. It's like, unlike KCP, where the teacher was doing the 3/4, parents were not doing 1/4. This is now the opposite. The parental involvement is very key. They need to up their game to assist these learners, because from grade 6 they'll go to grade 7, grade 8 and grade 9. Then they now take their pathways now. But if a parent is not involved from grade 6, there's nothing you can say that if you pick a grade 7, then you can now change. So it needs parental involvement from grade 1.
And away from that, traders in Kiambu County are calling for justice after what they term as harassment by county government officials. This follows a massive crackdown by county government officials, well known as Kanjos and police officers, on Kiganjo Trading Center over alleged non-payment of county levies. Victims of the raid, however, have decried the high levies imposed by the county government, saying many traders are simply unable to afford them.
Watu wa mahadiwea wamebebwa mawheelbarrow, alafu mpaka wanaingia mpaka kwa M-Pesa. Wanachukua funguo za mwenyewe kwa nguvu na hata M-Pesa ingine wameenda na 1200 za huyo nini hiyo M-Pesa, mpaka ile machini zake za kufanyia kazi za ATM na za Equity na Cooperative nayo pia wamebeba. Sasa sisi Kanjo wamekuwa wakituvamia kila mara kwa mara. Tungeomba serikali ya Kanjo badala ya kutufanyia hivyo wakuje kama vile tumekuwa tukiomba mara kwa mara, tukae chini na wao tujadiliane ile pesa sisi wananchi tunaweza toa kama ya lisensi ya kazi, ili hii mvutano wa sisi na watu wa biashara na Kanjo iishe.
Tumeambishiwa very bad. Tumefanyiwa harassment. Wenzetu wengine wameumizwa na hawa Kanjo. Na walikuja pia na serikali. Hii serikali jameni. Kwa nini leo umeamua tu muharasi watu wa Kiganjo kona tu?
Wakati huu si wakati wa kuhangaisha watu kuwabebea vitu, juu watu wana pesa na tunahangaisha Kenya yetu. Tunataka kitu ya kukura hapa Kenya. Wanakuja wanabebea watu.
The governments of Japan and Canada have partnered to fund construction of medical oxygen producing plants in Kenya and Tanzania to produce more than 2,000 tons of oxygen to hospitals at a cost of 2.8 billion shillings. According to the Director of Programs at Unitaid, Robert Matiru, and a representative of the Japanese Embassy, Hiroshi Ohigara, wants the plant to be able to produce a third of the medical oxygen needed in the East African region. They spoke during the groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of the facility that will be undertaken by the Synergy Gases Limited at Kokotoni area in Rabai Sub-County, Kilifi County. According to the World Health Organization, it estimates that more than 500,000 patients globally require
oxygen, empowering healthcare providers to save life with reliable and dignity every patient deserves. This plant will ensure the availability of critical medical oxygen not just for Kenya, but for hospitals and healthcare centers across the region.
The government of Japan and to the government of Canada, who have provided the financing, the 2.8 billion Kenyan shillings that will enable us to run this program and get it off the ground. And we're very honored that we have identified capable partners in Kenya and Tanzania, such as Synergy, to be able.
Under 314,117 teachers applied for the 46,000 teachers position recently advertised by the Teachers Service Commission. According to the TSC CEO Nancy Macharia, who appeared before the National Assembly Committee on Education, the education sector is still reeling with the problem of lack of enough teachers in all levels of education. And now let's cross over and listen in.
So in this particular case, because that's the question which keeps coming up every time, that and I'm seeing.
Well, and we will be bringing to you that report later on, and sorry for that technical hitch there. And elsewhere, moving on, MultiChoice in Kenya has announced a strategic partnership with Safaricom, allowing Safaricom customers to access exclusive TV shows, movies, sports and documentaries on Showmax and DSTV streams. The strategic collaboration brings premium entertainment directly to Safaricom customers, enhancing their viewing experience with unrivaled convenience. Speaking during the launch of the event, Zola Miranda, Managing Director, MultiChoice Kenya, noted of a significant milestone in Kenya's entertainment landscape. This partnership comes at a time when customers' demand for digital entertainment is on the rise, with most people seeking flexible on-the-go access to high-quality content across multiple devices.
A celebration of a partnership that we've been working on for a couple of months, and we see the two partners bringing great strengths on both sides. I think the reason we found this partnership to be quite important is because we see our customers seeking sort of like to enhance their digital lifestyle. Our customers now have access to the internet. 97% of the country is covered with 4G. We now have 5G, almost over 1,000 sites. So the connectivity is there. Secondly, now we have many more customers with smartphones. Smartphones have become much, much cheaper, much more accessible, meaning that now what customers want is to be engaged. They're looking for engaging content. When we did research with our customers, what they told us is that the 2 pieces of content they look for is actually 3, sports, news, and entertainment. And what we found is that we had to go out and look for a partner who would be able to provide these very strong pieces of content.
MultiChoice has been in Kenya. In February, we are turning 30 years. So we've been creating local stories for the last 30 years. We call ourselves Kenyan most loved storytellers because we create more than 500 hours of local content every year. And the ability of this partnership will give us, as Fauzia mentioned, will give us scale. I mean, with 97% coverage in the market, we want to spread local stories. We have done, a lot of studies that people like to see themselves on TV. They like to hear the stories. They like to hear the accent. They like to hear the intonation. They like to see stories that are relevant to them. And I think partnering with Safaricom is the way to get the stories out.
And to win the Mashujaa wa Kusoma Award by World Reader and the Kenya National Library Services, 11-year-old Raquel Nafula, a student from Kibera School for Girls, read 1,178 books in 3 months. World Reader, which has reached more than 22 million readers globally, and the Kenya National Library Services held a grand celebration of Mashujaa wa Kusoma, a national reading initiative designed to ignite a love for books in children and foster a culture of lifelong learning. The Mashujaa wa Kusoma initiative, officially launched on July 12, 2024, has brought together children aged 13 to 12 years from across the country, including participants from Nairobi, Kisumu, Kiambu and Mombasa counties, with an aim of encouraging children to read 25 books within 3 months, with the best performers recognized as reading heroes.
Last year, when we began this Mashujaa wa Kusoma campaign, there were slightly more than 100 children who participated. In these last 3 months, we've had about 3,000 children reading. And last year, we had about 50 children completing reading 25 books.
11-year-old Rachel Nafuda, a student from Kibera School for Girls, KSG, has stood out, having read 1,178 books in just 3 months.
The number of children who've completed reading 25 books are 247. And that includes 3-year-olds, 3 to 5-year-olds. There are some who have completed reading 25 books.
We were able to reach around 4 counties in Kenya. That is the county of Nakuru, Nairobi, Kisumu, and Kiambu.
World Reader's Book Smart app, a digital library with thousands of free books, provided children access to age-appropriate content on mobile phones, including adventure stories to African folklore. Children discovered the joy of reading while developing their comprehension skills. Through the joint effort of Kenya National Library Service, World Reader and community partners, the initiative has demonstrated that reading can thrive even in resource-limited areas when parents, teachers and communities unite around a shared vision.
I love reading myself, and the reason why I brought her on board together with her siblings is because I felt that I need to introduce a reading culture in my home, as opposed to being addicted to gadgets, electric gadgets, which are okay, but I wanted my children to be the ones seated somewhere reading a book while they're waiting in the queue or they're seated in an airport. That is what I wanted to inculcate in my children.
With the success of this campaign, World Reader and Kenya National Library Services are planning to scale the initiative to reach even more communities across the 47 counties. Other winners include Quintine Owino, who read 1,087 books, Dalsa Owino 1,080, Ian Olive 1,077, Wesley Joel Mareri 732. Well, with that, we take a breather here at K24 Newscast. I'll see you in a short while.
We are the Catch every thrilling moment of the English Premier League.